Hi, I'm Stu Kagan, and welcome to Born Scrappy, the podcast for scrap metal exporters and traders. Join me in conversation with some of the most experienced traders and operators that have helped shape this incredible industry. In today's episode, I'm joined by Zhenbin Han. Zhen is purchasing manager at the huge Chinese copper processor Jintian. Zhen got his bachelor's degree in civil engineering in China and his MBA in Germany, where he's lived for over 10 years now. In this episode, we discuss how the regulations in China impacted processes, why it's important to impress the operations team, if buyers prefer formula or spot pricing, why quality consistency is key, and so much more. So let's hear from Zhen. But first, intro. Hey Zhen, welcome to Born Scrappy. How are you,
Hi,
mate?
Stu. Yeah, it's nice to join you. Yeah, everything good today, so I feel perfect. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Zhen, you're based in
Yeah,
Germany. I'm in New Zealand. We were just talking briefly. I'm going into summer,
yeah,
and it's getting a bit cold where you are, right?
yeah, correct. Yeah, but it's okay. So 1 degree outside, so not that freezing. Yeah, we still
Yeah, it's okay.
have a winter ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, you're just getting started. You said you got the first bit of snow coming
yeah,
now, right?
correct. So today it's quite heavy, I think. Yeah, outside. Yeah, but
Nice.
I can feel the atmosphere before Christmas, so it reminds me that a year gone. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, another year
another year
gone.
gone.
Exactly
Correct.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Um, Zen, tell us a little bit about how you joined the industry
Okay.
and what brought you to recycling. I know quite a bit about your background. Tell us a bit about your background and how you joined the industry, and then tell us about Jintian, the huge company that you buy for.
Okay, glad to do it. So I was born in China and I was having my master degree in Germany. So I have been in Germany for, I think it's 12 years until now. And I was in another industry in the past, and it's by chance I joined Jintian. So it's more or less 5 years ago. And then I started a career in the metal industry. So Jintian is an end user in China. We are one of the leading consumers in the industry. We produced in 2022 1.75 million tons copper and brass semi-finished product, and we are buying worldwide recycled copper and brass material. So I was quite excited to work at Jintian in the past 5 years. I love this industry and I have learned also a lot in the industry. Yeah,
Probably the most well-known um, copper buyer, honey
yeah.
buyer in the world. I'd say I personally have sold tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of tons
Okay.
of material to Jintian in my 20, 25 years, mostly through an agent in
Uh-huh.
China.
Okay.
And when I was based in South Africa, we used to sell through a very large agent there.
Hmm.
But so I was dealing with Jintian long before you were.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
You've only
I
been
think
there
so.
five
Yeah.
years now.
I hope you had good experiences with us.
We really
Yeah,
did. We
perfect.
really did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about on your journey. Have you had any tough trades that you've had to deal with, get through? What have you experienced on that side of the
Hmm.
things?
I think specific deals is hard to say, but during the COVID time, I think it was
Mm.
very tough times. During that time, suddenly, for all of us, we don't know how the market will develop, and the copper prices dropped a lot. So we were thinking probably is another financial crisis. Yeah, but it proves out at the end it's not that bad, I think. Um, but during that time, I think it was where lots of small things happened. But I think to it's hard to see that uh, what we're gonna do next, or what's our plan for the next, because we don't know how the market develops. I think the only thing is that we just do the right things. We just do the right thing and we do the good communications with the partners. So if there are problems, we fix it. And we don't expect that we know everything on the market and we know everything happened. So I think from that time we learned is that just be prepared to solve problems. Yeah, but actually at the end, I think we've done everything good and we are having good reputations from that time also. Um, yeah,
So many people that I speak to talk about you get to know a lot about your counterparty and more about their reputation and reliability when you have hard times.
yeah,
So what you're saying there is that you really did, um, I guess, act in good faith as much as possible.
yeah,
Can you give us any examples of what might have happened during COVID? We all experienced it differently. You know, I was in New Zealand where at certain times we were completely locked up
yeah,
and unable to leave our houses, right? So we weren't able to we weren't able to operate because metal recycling wasn't considered an essential service for a very long time. So for us, we couldn't pack any of our contracts. I had to deal with a lot of my counterparties and explain to them the situation we were going through, which was different in different parts of the world. So it was quite hard for all of our buyers to understand. But you know, as long as we acted in good faith, they kind of accepted the situation we were in. What one thing can you think of that might stand out an experience that you went through?
Um, I think at the beginning it was the Chinese New Year. So at that time, actually, we were having holidays in China. So we didn't feel too much lockdowns when we first heard COVID because we were all at home. Yeah, but it spread so quickly and we just keep us at home, so working from home. But actually, everything runs out in China. And after a short period, we get some tough time in China, but we were all back to our positions and keep the production running. But the thing is that travel abroad is very hard. So we cannot travel freely around the world to meet the customers and to exchange opinions. So I think this affected the business a lot. Yeah, but
Mm,
what we were doing good is that we were arranging lots of conference calls through video. That time, I think Zoom was very popular. And
mm,
also, we were having our offices in different areas around the world. So, like in Germany, we are here, and in America, in Thailand, also in Vietnam. So through these different channels, we still have good communications with our counterparties. So therefore, I think uh, with using these channels, I think even there were problems out there, but we still know that uh, for our partners or for us, we are knowing that our counterparty is still there, still running well. We can always checking that if everything runs well. So it feels very comfortable or feels very safety
mm,
in that situation. Yeah,
mm. So you continue to receive material,
yeah,
which allowed you to carry on running, which is obviously very positive. Certain parts of the world would have
yeah,
struggled to get material out, but you were able to, I guess, through different parts of the world, make sure that you guys carried on running.
correct. But the price
So,
dropped a lot at the start. Yeah,
yeah.
getting material is a little bit hard, but we know
Mm,
the market is running. So actually, we are not that scared during that time. Yeah.
mm, mm. And then tell me about a tough decision that you've had to deal with in the past. Any tough decision and some sort of lessons that you've maybe learned through that.
hmm Um, I think for us, the tough decision would be the new standard came out in China. It was 2020, I think. When the new standard comes out, we all need to learn about it. So although we took part to create it, but it's still involved in too many different parties. inside and too many calculations. It's also new for us, new for the suppliers. I mean, for the good materials and bad materials, they are relatively easy. So good materials, we can buy it without any problem and we can import it. And the bad news, we can just forget it. So it's impossible to import. But the tricky thing is at the middle. So some materials looks like not that good, but it also not that bad. So I think we're gonna need that material, but we also need to be very careful about it. And I think these are the tough things, and also there are some tough decisions we need to make toward this kind of material. Um, uh, Also, the most important thing is communication. We need to communicate with the custom in China, and we also do need to communicate with the suppliers. Is it possible to do like the standard we need to optimize the material? At the end, I think we find the ways to find the balance point to get enough material for us and also to help the suppliers to keep exporting to China. But the tough point is that we need to be very careful at the beginning. We can't just import as in the past. So if the material we like from the production or from the people who are very professional in the industry, they like the material, but it doesn't mean that we can import that. So we need to find a balance point at the end. But I think after so many communications, we were doing well at this point. So we were glad that we overcome the problem. Yeah.
Zhen, this is why I was really excited. And when we spoke at the BIR the other day, really excited to get you on here. And it's because we have a lot of traders. We do master classes as well with certain operators, processors. But getting an end user in China to speak is really important, because I can tell you, being on the other side from where you are, even though we work together for the same, we have the same goals, we want to achieve the same thing. Often for the supplier of yours, it feels like you're being very picky, or you're being, you want more pictures, or what's wrong with this material? This is the normal honey I always sold. Why are you being so particular and telling me that I have to clean this and that material up, right? But from our side, it's really easy. From the metal process side, it's really easy to just complain. But really on your side, what I'm getting from you is you wanted the same thing. You wanted to make sure you could buy the material. You didn't want it being held up at customs, which is really, both parties don't want that. So when you do ask these sort of questions and you do put a lot of pressure on the supplier to make sure the material is of a decent quality, to make sure there are enough pictures that you guys can clear beforehand and make sure that it's going to be okay, you're really working together with your supplier, not against them, even though it can be very frustrating for them. I've been on that side for a long time, and I've heard so many other parties complain about it.
Correct.
Do you feel that you get some sort of resistance sometimes back where people get frustrated with you?
Yeah, I think yes, there are. So, but sometimes we just need to understand each other. I mean, I understand the hard work from the suppliers, and also understand that probably some standards are too theoretic. Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated supply chain, and many parties took part into it. People may not know each other so well. So I think there are points that are not so correct. So for our industry, I cannot deny it, but the regulation is the regulation. So we don't want to
Exactly right.
break it, or we don't want to have problems. I think the best way is that we should be more careful at the beginning to have less problems instead of we are too aggressive at the beginning and we
Mm.
suddenly we got a huge problem or many problems at the end, and it might be too big to be solved by us. So I know that probably we are doing some work which are too much for the sorting, but it is better than that we are doing less, and then we know that, oh, we probably should do it better. So that's my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah,
Look, Zen, I've always believed, I've probably said this to you, I've said it to other agents I've dealt with, as long as there's a premium and I'm sorting material and making it cleaner,
yeah,
then I'm getting a better price. And if it wasn't as clean, it makes sense to me. It's okay.
yeah,
If you were giving me the same price, which you aren't. So I'm very happy to make it cleaner. And that means sometimes I had a full-time person on honey.
hmm,
And all they did all day was sort the material, make sure it was extra clean to make sure that I could get a premium for the material. That's the upgrading that we all rely on to make margin. And I was looking at the differential between, if I was to sell it into another market
yeah,
in the way that I bought it versus selling it to yourselves as a premium, it made more sense for me to actually have a full-time person cleaning my bra. So I think everybody should be looking at it in that way. But then don't get frustrated when the likes of Jintian are asking you just send more pictures, make sure it's extra clean.
yeah,
You're selling it for the premium, so expect it to need to meet certain requirements.
yeah, yeah. And also I think
Mm.
it's what we are dealing is millions of dollars of material. So um, the better we do more things which probably not useful, but better than we don't do it and having problems at the end. Yeah,
Exactly
yeah,
right. As I said in the beginning, you don't want neither party wants the material to get stuck at
yeah,
customs. Then everybody's got a problem. So you make sure that both parties are comfortable. And that's, I think you said earlier, you spoke about communication. As long as we can communicate and those lines are open at all
yeah,
time, then you find that it's easier to get the material into the country. It's easier to jump through any hoops that you're going to deal with in any country. If you've got communication, and your communication is strong and the lines of communication are always open, you are going to find yourself with less
yeah,
headaches,
correct.
I guess, in
Yeah,
life, really. Yeah.
correct.
Um, Zen, talk me through some collaboration experience that you've had. So this would be dealing with another company, dealing with another party, dealing with other people that have helped you either solve problems or to do better in your industry or for your company.
Hmm. The collaboration for us is that we have very strong team in China, so it helped us to get the information or get the techniques what we need to do the business overseas. I mean, it's also about the communication. Probably I mentioned it many times. Yeah, because the market is so complicated. We are facing with so many different articles. So always having good channels in China. So with our logistic teams, custom clearance teams, production, and also our my fellow colleagues who acting as purchasers, uh, we all getting information and the situation from every day from every area. But when we communicating with each other, we probably know what is the right way we need to go, or are the risks we can avoid at the moment or in the future.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's what you touched on there was firstly was internal, which is very
yeah,
important. Internal teamwork, collaboration is extremely important. But you touched on something that nobody else really has so far, which is I guess the supply chain. You spoke about, the logistics being really
yeah,
important. And that's 100% collaboration, right? I mean, you need to work together with whether it's transport, whether it's freight, whoever's doing that work for you. You need to work really closely with, and you have to have a great relationship. Once again, really good communication with that party. And without that, we can't really operate in this industry.
Correct.
Right? A lot of us take it for granted, but without the right freight, transport, logistics, and all the admin that goes with that, we wouldn't be able to operate. So, yeah, that's vitally important. A lot of people speak about the associations, and we collaborate in the association, which I think we all do.
Yeah.
But yeah, the collaboration between freight and logistics is also really important.
Yeah, and I think the association is also vital. It help people to do networkings and sharing informations, and also for the situation, I think in Europe when they end up with the certification issue came out, I think what we can get more news is from the association, and it really helped us to know how the market is developing, and I think this is also very important. Yeah.
Yeah, agree with that. It's really important that we have an association or associations that feed information from different global markets.
Yeah.
The non-ferrous board is really helpful because they have somebody from each region at the BIR who can report, what's happening in their area, and it's really good for us to be fed that information because you could be buying from a region that's currently talking about, stopping exports of copper, for example. I'm making it up, but that could happen, and it's really important for you to know that because it could be a large chunk of your volume. Therefore, you need to have a strategy over the next year of where that other material is going to come from to replace it. Yeah, that the associations play a massive, massive part for all of us.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, Zhen, I want to ask you about from the exporter side, so from your supplier side, their trading strategies. So in order for an exporter to have a great trading strategy, what would be the few things that you would recommend they do, right? So we're talking for a metal recycler who's selling to you at Jintian, and you said to them, if you want to be a really good supplier, or you want to optimize your trading strategy, this is what you should do.
I think the first thing is that the quality need to be good. Also for the suppliers who are trying to sell to new market like China or different markets, it's vital for them also to understand the standard there. I mean, the standard existed, or probably in the region in Europe or in American, also standards there. But the quality standard might be different. So it is vital to understand the import standard for a new market. Don't mix it up. So probably if you are mentioning, so Barry Candy here probably is #1 copper in China. So, but if you are calling #1 in China, copper, probably it means another article in other countries. Don't take it for granted. I mean, if you are mentioning this article as this name, it will be better if you can check it with the photos and make sure at the end you are talking about the same material at the end. Don't just like saying we are selling this article with this name and deal done, and at the end of the day or after loading you found probably it's another material. Yeah.
That asks a lot of questions then. Well, I have a lot of questions then about ISRI specs, right? I've now operated in physically in 2 different countries, and the specs used in both countries are completely different. All different names, all different terms, exactly what you say. What's #1 in one place is Berry in another place. But even that is different. Berry is different to #1 from what I understand it in South Africa versus in New Zealand.
Correct.
So it's really important to actually know what your buyer is buying when you're offering them material.
Correct.
Don't just take for granted that you're using the same terms. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Zhen?
correct. Yeah, and also trying to do the quality good because you are sending the material. I mean, if we are talking about export, you are sending the material to another country, And when the buyer receive the material, probably it's after 2 or 3 months. So it is better to do the quality a little bit good rather than a little bit bad and have issues at the end. And if it is really serious issues, probably it's easy to understand where the problem. But if it is just like the boundary, is it good or bad? I can't remember what the problem during loading, but it seems like there is problem. But don't make yourself confused. I think this is also very important. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then I find you have to go through thousands of WhatsApp messages
Yeah.
to go try and find what you said was actually in the material. The contract might say we'll stick to berry candy,
Yeah.
but in your conversation, you might have said it's got this amount of bales or it's got this amount of material or whatever it's got in.
Yeah.
And then it arrives on the other side and it's 3 months later.
Yeah.
And you're saying, oh, it's not meant to have this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sure I WhatsApped.
Yeah.
I'm sure I said that in a WhatsApp. But in 3 months, we've carried on speaking at least 2 to 3 times a week,
Yeah.
even if I'm just asking you how your weekend went. And I've now got to go through all those WhatsApps to try and find that out. So I hear what you're saying. Try and make sure that you err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
Make sure that you make it that little bit better. But that leads me to another question. If I'm making the material better, and you're paying me a standard price, we'll stick to berry candy, for berry candy, I see myself as losing out. Now, let me explain. I'm spending time and money to make my material cleaner than what I think everybody else makes it, because the ISRI spec says berry candy, but I'm making it even cleaner because I want to make sure that it's better. So my question is, do you identify that my material is cleaner and therefore I become a preferred supplier in the future? Or you recognize that whenever I offer material, it is of a decent quality? Or is it just lumped in to a batch that comes from the country and that country is always known as having that material?
I think we can notice what's the difference. At least I'm getting this kind of feedback from our factories. Some of them are talking to us, oh, this material, I like it very much. And if you're going to have this material again, please let me know. And I think on this point, we can identify the preferred material and preferred supplier. Absolutely, we will look more on the material if we like it very much. Yeah.
So I speak a lot about, well, I ask a lot about becoming a preferred supplier. What you just explained now is something I've experienced a lot in my time in this industry. I've had those phone calls from a trader within a company who said, please, if you have that material again, we absolutely loved it. My factory is called, or the warehouse is called, or operations is called, and said, please buy more of this. It's wonderful. I'm not going to be perfect. I've also had the other people calling the other side saying, I think I spoke to Jürgen on the podcast about it, Jürgen van Gorp from Arubis, when he was at Matala Shamik. I've had the phone call and said, what is wrong with this material? This is not what you said you were supplying me. And I've had to check with my yards why that material was sent in that way. But I think my question was, do you identify it against the actual supplier? And the answer is yes, you do. So if you are putting in that extra effort on your material, I think it's worth everybody knowing that you will get the benefit and you will become that preferred supplier. What does a preferred supplier for Jintian get? Zhen, is it better prices? I think Michael Pavlovsky spoke about it's the fact that you can sell when other people can't. When the market is in a horrible place, they'll still buy from you. What are the things at Jintian that you would say you give your preferred suppliers?
So first of all, when we see the preferred material, preferred suppliers, we are very likely to buy the material from them. We are excited to see the material there, and we are excited to receive the offers. And of course, we are very glad to making bids on it. But if you are talking about if it's preferred material and preferred supplier getting better prices, I think it's quite hard to see it because at this time, I think the margin on the market is quite low. The thing is that if we see the material or what we preferred, but we absolutely don't want to lose it, we will try to give our support and we will do our best. But it's also hard to see that if we see this material good, we can do the price whatever the suppliers want.
The buyer can never give the prices the seller wants. I've experienced that for 25 years. I've always wanted more than the buyer could give me. That's just
Yeah.
how the two parties play.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is, firstly, is that Jintian doesn't just offer prices to everybody. They really want to know about the quality,
Yeah.
and you might do trials first, get to know the quality, and then decide if you are making offers on the material. And what you're saying is, as a preferred supplier,
Yeah.
you'll always be offered on the material. The trader is excited, or the buyer at Jintian is excited to hear that you have more material on offer.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean necessarily you will get a much higher price than anybody else, but they will always be willing to buy from you. Is that right?
So for example, usually the material sometimes it can be preferred, but sometimes it's also very fluctuate. But if a preferred supplier has the material always stable, I can imagine that this material is more preferred by our production. Yeah, but if the material is, for example, from a company who are buying from different places, we might get a different quality material at the end, but under the same article name. So in this case, it will be much complicated to say it is a preferred material from our buying side. Yeah.
I think consistency is really important with your material. If you can have a consistent quality, then the buyer gets to know you. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not saying it's consistently perfect.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but if it is of a standard, then the buyer gets to know you and gets to know how to price your material and knows straight away whether they're willing to price or not. And then you have less headaches. And we spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, when it's fluctuating and you've got great quality come in and the operations are really excited and they're saying, hey, Zhen, if Stuart's offering more material, please make sure you bring it in. And the next time I offer, the next time I offer, it's actually not coming from my yard. I've bought it from somebody else. And if you're not aware of that, and I'm supplying that material and that's not of a decent quality, all of a sudden I become known as a supplier that is going to give you maybe a bit of a headache when the quality comes in and you'll always be unsure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's also just
okay.
Yeah,
So when we speak about preferred suppliers, let's talk about a new buyer. So if one of us as an exporter are looking for a new buyer, what should we be careful of? What do you see in the market?
I think the first thing is to check out the background, to know who you're gonna be work with in the future, and is there any information or certification that can show the qualification of the supplier? I think this is very important. And also knowing the culture or the rules or the standard of the new buyer. So exporting to different countries might have different rules. You need to be very careful about how the process going and control the risks. And don't always do like a document against payment. But probably in different countries, it's not always like a standard working in terms. Yeah, this is quite important, I think.
Yeah, Zen, you're the first person to touch on that. That's really good because we always speak about when looking for a new buyer, make sure you check your references, make sure they're reputable, make sure they're going to pay you. But we never actually speak about going to a new region, right? So if you're selling to a new buyer, that buyer could be in a new country.
Yeah.
Make sure you know what the legalities are of that. Make sure you know what documents are required. Make sure you understand the culture a little bit as well. It's going to help you with a lot of things, whether it's negotiating the price, whether it's negotiating a claim, whether you can expect a claim to come at all, and understanding that about the region that you're selling to is really important as well. Yeah, that's really helpful. And Zhen, with regards to becoming a preferred supplier, do you prefer your suppliers to sell on fixed prices? Do you prefer them to sell as based on an index, a formula price? What is your preferred supplier?
It depends. We buy both. We buy fixed price and we also buy formula prices. So we don't want to buy all in one method. We need to consider our risks and consider the market, the local market in China, and also we need to consider our production orders. So it's always like a combination. We get fixed price and formula price together. So only difference is that different situation, different market, we might have different percentage of fixed price and formula price.
So at certain times, obviously, the formula could be better than the spot price and vice versa. Usually on formula, you might have taken a longer contract period and you might have tonnage booked out for the next 3 months, 6 months, or even a year. And those percentages are worked out at the time of the contract, whereas the markets can change over time. So you don't necessarily have a preference. You have a need for both of those. So neither of those in your books are a preferred supplier. They just make up the full supply that you guys need.
Yeah, correct. And for example, for fixed price, when we booked it and when it arrived, it probably is 3-4 months later. We don't know how the market goes, and we need some formula prices to reduce that risks.
Absolutely. How have you seen the industry change from your side? We spoke previously about 3-4 years ago, with how China changed its regulations. How else have you seen it change at all? And where do you think it's going to go in the next 10 years?
So regulations absolutely very important at the time, but we don't know if the regulations is only bad things. Probably it's also good things from it. They are making standard or pushing the industry forward. And I think because of these regulations, the techniques in the industries or the technology could be very important or could be vital for the industry development. Probably in the next 10 years, there will be more and more technologies coming into the industry to help do the sorting or do the shredding. Probably we're gonna have a more automatic or more optimized recycling industry in the next 10 years. That's my vision for it.
I think there's a huge amount of focus on technology at the moment on the operational side, and to make the material cleaner, to do it more efficiently, and just to clean up the whole industry globally. And there's a massive amount. We're already at achieving incredible things, and if you look at the different companies in that space, they really are doing amazing things. But I agree with you. I think over the next 10 years is a long time.
It's a long time.
If you look at the advancements we've had as an industry in the last 10 years, I think there will be more advancement over the next 10 years because of the involvement of AI and other technology. And I think you're going to have, even, if the graph has been at that sort of speed, I think you're going to find it shooting up there. So 10 years, I'm excited to see what technology brings.
And also, for us, for example, we are using technology in our production. We have realized one production by us is fully automatic without people in there. So probably after 10 years, from the supplier's side, it can also be realized like nobody on the yard. It's just machine running there.
Sorting
materials. But what don't change, I think, is the relationship between peoples. Um, yeah,
Absolutely.
this is so if AI don't control the human being, so probably it is quite important to communicating with people and finding the common values together and do the business, keep things running. I think this probably don't change in the future. Yeah.
Technology has to add value,
Hmm.
but cannot expect to take away
Yeah.
relationships. I think that summarizes that really well
Yeah.
because technology is going to play a part in absolutely everything we do.
Yeah.
Just by using WhatsApp or WeChat, whatever, that's already technology, right? So just on the communication side, but that's adding value for a relationship.
Yeah.
So it's making the relationship stronger and it's actually assisting and making it more efficient because we're all really busy. And there will be things that will come out that will make that even more efficient.
Yeah.
So I think technology has to add to the relationship and make the relationship even stronger if possible.
Yeah.
And when you see those sort of things happening, I think you will find technology playing a bigger part. This is more on the, I guess, the trading and communication side. I think on the operational side, there isn't really a reliance on communication necessarily. I don't see,
Yeah.
whether it's when it's equipment. I'd love to know what your plant that now doesn't have any human involvement. What does it actually do?
So I haven't seen it, haven't the chance to see
Okay,
it. Yeah, I hope I can tell you more after next visiting our factories because it's already a long time. Yeah, but
good.
yeah,
You WhatsApp me when you get back. I want to
I will
hear. I want to
absolutely
hear
do
all
it.
about it. Either there, or it'll be in Vegas at Israel, or we'll be in Copenhagen together.
Yeah,
So that's when you're going to tell me exactly. I'd love to know more about
yeah,
that. Zen, is there anybody that you're watching in the industry, companies or people that you like to keep an eye on and see what they're
yeah.
doing?
I think what you are doing is absolutely one of them. Yeah, you are bringing the internet thinking into the industry. I think you're building the platform to organizing people to share the valuable experience. Um, I think this is a big change in the industry. Yeah, it's so I, as a not so experienced buyer in the industry, I appreciate a lot. I think there are lots of things to learn. Yeah, on the platform, and
Mm,
I know that
mm.
what you are doing now about the software is also very interesting thing. I think you are definitely one of them. Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Zen. Appreciate that, man.
no,
Before we go,
hmm,
because we're running out of time, this has been lots of fun, but we always like to get to know you a little bit
yeah.
better. So we'll end with 4 quick questions.
Hmm.
What's your favorite TV series or movie?
The movie, The Matrix.
The
Yeah,
Matrix.
Matrix. Yeah, it was very interesting. I
So you
think
do
it's
love technology.
yeah, it's about technology. It's very related
Yeah.
to what we are now today, especially when ChatGPT came out. Yeah, it's quite interesting how our world will be developed in the future. Yeah, I'm excited on it. Yeah.
Um, just yesterday, I posted on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and it was about AI seeing our industry as a dirty industry, and it's difficult to ask Midjourney, which does the pictures,
Okay.
to make our industry look
Yeah.
clean. And I've been trying to do that, and it takes a bit of effort. And Ephraim from AIM commented, and he sent a whole bunch of pictures that he had done.
Hmm.
And one of the pictures had a hard hat,
Hmm.
but the hard hat only covered the back of the head and it had their hair
Uh-huh.
coming through the front. And I actually commented and I said, it looks like the robots are trying to kill us
Uh-huh.
because they're creating hard hats that don't cover our head. So if we were to build those hard hats, all the humans would be dead. So it's kind of related
Yeah.
to the Matrix and what's really going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a bit of fun we had yesterday on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place to visit?
Favorite place in Europe, I like Barcelona a lot. I think there are lots
Mm,
of scenes and seas, and also many delicious food. I like there very much. Yeah,
yeah,
and in China,
yeah, food.
Yeah, I think I like Ningbo, which Jintian located. It's a very nice city. I would recommend it because I go there so once a year at least, I think. Yeah.
My wife's promised she has to take me to China sometime. She lived for 6 months in
In
Kunming.
Kunming, oh, there is nice.
In
Yeah.
Kunming. Yeah, so she said she'll take me
6
sometime there.
months. It's
There's
quite
not,
long.
yeah, there's not many people that speak English there. In
No,
fact, I think when she was there was no one that spoke English, so
no.
it'll be a little bit
Yeah.
tough. But yeah, she did that just for a bit of experience and to learn to speak Mandarin. So she realized get thrown into the deep of it, and you learn very quickly when no one else can speak English, right?
Yeah. I can imagine. But
Yeah.
the pronunciation probably is different in Kunming. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
Oh,
different area.
you'll have to speak to Lisa.
Yeah.
You'll have to speak to Lisa about that, right? That I don't know enough about that stuff.
Yeah, but Mandarin is also popular. I think people can speak Mandarin there also. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. What do you have a favorite book? Do you read a lot?
What I'm reading now is The Unfair Advantage.
The Unfair
Yeah, The
Advantage.
Unfair
What is that?
Advantage. It
Tell me
is.
more.
I haven't finished it, but it seemed like something what you got or your experience or your relationship, what is all of these things that is quite important for your success in the future. You cannot just leave it aside and do starting from zero and to do other things, just like probably we are working in the metal industry and just leave this industry and do programming for next year. Probably it's not a good thing. This is a book was explaining this kind of unfair advantage or to help you to identify what is your unfair advantage. Yeah.
So, I'm going to look for it. Is it about your experiences that make you good or bad, and they make you, and that creates your unfair advantage, or some would call your edge, to be able to do whatever you're going to do next? Is it about your experiences that create
Yeah, exactly. That? About your experience, about your relationship, or about your character or techniques. What you have is all your unfair advantages. You just need to combine these things all together and to do the things you are good at it. So this is basically the point from the book. Yeah. But I haven't finished it. Yeah. It's not that long, but
Zhen, that's good. I'm glad, because then you can't ruin how it ends. I hope they don't all die at the end. Don't ruin the story for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something I speak a lot about because I've had hardship. I've had tough times. Everybody does as an industry. We got markets that go down, and you got crashes. You got people that don't pay you. You got claims you have to deal with, etc. And then I post about that quite a lot. But those things are exactly that.
Yeah.
They've given me my edge. They've educated me. Other people that I've hosted on the show have spoken about, early on they dealt with 2008 financial market crash, right? Those sort of things, and how quickly they learned from that.
Yeah.
So that's really important. I like the idea of that book, and I'm definitely going to look it up and
I'll recommend
and read more about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite quote? Everybody in our industry likes good quotes. Do you have one that you stick by?
Yeah, probably it's just like what you said just now is the farther back you can look, the farther forward you're likely to see. Yeah.
Wow. I really like it.
Yeah, I think
the farther back you can look, the further forward you can see.
Yeah. It's actually from
Very good.
Winston Churchill.
Brilliant. Love it, mate. On that note, we're going to say cheers and thank you so much. We ran out of time. Zhen, this has been lots of fun. I look forward to having you again on here in one of the next few seasons.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, mate. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Zhen. Cheers, buddy.
Bye.